All right, let's get this going. So let's get started. Okay, so I am so excited today, and give me just a little patience on the webinar here. But I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Morgan Molitor. So Morgan is an impressive gal, and we are very, very lucky to have her here today, fellow Midwesterner. So Morgan is co-founder of Construction to Style, which is a full-service design build firm up in Minnesota. And she grew them from a DIY blog to a construction firm and a small media company. They grew their business by building their brand online. To give you some reference, Construction to Style manages an Instagram account consisting of over 1 million monthly impressions, a social media following over 100,000 followers, 1.8 million Pinterest monthly impressions, and 342,000 monthly views of their website. I'm going to say that again, 342,000 monthly views of their website. Morgan has developed multiple streams of revenue through affiliate programs and links, and they're paid brand ambassadors for several mainstream vendors, such as Delta, Zephyr, LK, Sherwin-Williams, and more. So long story short, Morgan's killing it in the remodeling industry, and I've personally been watching her with shock and awe, and I know a lot of other remodelers have, kind of wondering, like, what is she doing that we're not doing? And she's looking so great and fabulous up there, so close to the border. And and she's also a fellow member of NARI. So she's been gracious enough to come here today and teach us specifically about Pinterest. So I know for some of you, everyone knows about Facebook, everyone knows about Instagram. Maybe you're familiar, maybe not as familiar, but Pinterest is really a secret weapon that I learned a lot about from Morgan. So with that, I'm just going to let you take it away and teach all the Chicago NARI members a thing or two.
Awesome. Okay, and now if I can find the...
No, I don't know what I did.
Oh, no, you're good. I think it's right. Okay. So you guys, I hope, can see the slides. Can you see it also?
If you guys want to shoot in the chat, just let us know if you can see the slide.
Yeah, and then throughout the presentation too, if you guys have any questions, let's put it in the chat. I want this to be a conversation. This is the one thing I don't like about Corona, is that I am always feeling awesome, Sherry. I always feel like I'm talking to people, and I don't like that. I like to make sure we're getting engaged and you guys are getting all the questions answered that you want answered today, because that's what we are here for. So we're going to be talking about specifically the power of Pinterest and how to utilize it to drive revenue for your brand. So Allison just introed me, but yes, I'm Morgan Molitor, Construction to Style. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I have a baby due in any day now, but in 2 weeks for sure she'll be here. We run a design build interior residential remodeling industry just outside the suburbs of the Twin Cities here. And then we're a lifestyle brand content creating team. So in 2012, that's when we started Construction to Style. Jamie, my husband, bought his first investment property. He was renovating it to sell it. And I was just dating him at the time. And so he bought this property for $90,000. And just back when the economy was crashing or had crashed, and I was just blown away by what he was doing to the space. He went to school for carpentry. He always wanted to be a contractor, but I had no idea the level of skill set that he had. And so I just slowly started watching what he was doing to this home. I was blown away by what he was doing, started construction of style and just documenting. And organically, we kind of led to a DIY blog. We never meant for it to be that way. But I was just documenting how he was laying the tile, how he was taking walls down, what paint colors he was choosing. And one thing kind of led to another. And in 2015 is when we launched our design build side. And then 2018, I launched courses. I did different workshops. My background is marketing and fashion merchandising. And basically, I just took everything that I had been doing at those corporate jobs and kind of carried it over into construction of style. So yeah, fast forward, and that's kind of what C2S is all about. We're a design build, plus we are a lifestyle brand. We offer courses. I do speaking like this on marketing, and we share it all on our website. So the first question I always get asked is, do I need to be on all social media platforms? And I always tell people, yes, you do. And I know that sounds very daunting and overwhelming, but it also comes down to utilizing a ton of tools, and that's what we do. I maybe spend maximum 4 hours per week on all social media because I leverage tools so much. But we're only going to talk about Pinterest today because that's all we have time for. But I have lots of other resources on our website that dials down other social media channels. But I also at least say, if it does feel too overwhelming and cumbersome and you don't have the capacity to take on all channels, at least grab your handles, because you guys have worked hard for your brand, built your brand, and you don't want someone else taking your name on the channel, or at minimum, a client looking you up and then they're not finding you there, or they're finding someone else. So what is Pinterest? So Pinterest is the #1 platform that we drive traffic to our website out of all social media channels. And I think it's one that's often overlooked. And I see so many people spending so much time on other platforms such as Instagram or Pinterest, or pouring money, tens of thousands of dollars, into the SEO, which is great. We definitely utilize an agency to do that as well. But Pinterest is free. It's a search engine. And why wouldn't you be utilizing it? And I'll show you what a great opportunity you guys have right now as well to utilize it. So, and it also, for us, it's a place that we help pull ideas, visions, thoughts together for our clients. It helps us when presenting to clients or getting inspiration. But at the end of the day, it also is a place that you want to show up for your brand, because when you are Googling something on the internet, more oftentimes than not, you are landing on Pinterest without even realizing it. A ton of times people are like, my clients aren't on Pinterest. And I don't care what industry that you're in, your clients are on Pinterest because they're on the internet. But specifically for the design build, your clients are always on Pinterest because that's where all the pretty things are. And that's what we do, is build beautiful homes. So if you're utilizing it, and I'm going to challenge you guys to just spend 1 hour per week max, and we're going to walk through some things to do within that 1 hour per week, you're going to get more page views, and you're going to get more eyes on your website, and you're going to make more money. So just showing how it's a search engine. So just today, I typed into Google best interior paint colors for resale 2020. This is the biggest thing we always just get and people are searching for, is paint colors is a top search keyword. And so we're constantly just creating content centered around paint colors because it's simple, it's easy. You guys know your go-to paints. So when I type this in, you probably can't see it too good, but I'll share this presentation with you guys too, and you can dive through these slides and click on them. But right away, some of the top, what pops up in Google is right away it's Home Advisor, which it always is. Then it goes to a couple other blogs, and then 2, 3, the fourth one down right there's Pinterest. And if I could have gotten a bigger screenshot, it goes 5, 6, 7, 8. They were all Pinterest. So there it just shows like and try this for yourself, type in any different phrases into Google. You'll see that almost immediately that Pinterest is always on page 1. Then if you go to images, which a lot of times people are clicking over to images for anything home, construction, design related, all of those, most all of them are going to be, again, Pinterest, or they're leading to someone's website. So another great reason why you should not only be making sure that you guys are getting all of your content on your website. I'm sure your portfolio pages are loaded, but making sure that all those live on Pinterest as well. Very frequently, just within our newsletters too. So if you go to our website, want to sign up for our newsletter, we do challenges. They're absolutely free. I just did this Pinterest challenge not too long ago. This was just one feedback that I got from someone with the limited amount that they were started doing. This is how much their impressions, their audience, and their engagement drove. So just now, when I was putting this presentation together yesterday and today, I realized I went back through our leads, and within the last 10 days, we had gotten 8 qualified leads, and they had all found us from Pinterest. So here's just 2 of those 8 emails. That's one of the first questions we asked, is how they find us. And here's 2 that said they found us from Pinterest. Okay, so we're gonna dive into some things that I'm gonna suggest that you do right away. Whether you're on Pinterest, I wish I could see a show of hands how many people are even on Pinterest. So if you're not, that's gonna be step 1, is just getting your account set up. And then you wanna make sure that your profile is actually optimized. So first you wanna make sure that your Pinterest profile is actually a business account. You wanna make sure it's not your personal account. This is for a number of different reasons, but the biggest one is so that you're verified, which is this tiny, if you'll see it right here, this is a picture of our Pinterest profile, and there's a little global icon with a check mark, and that means that you're verified. Anyone can be, it shows that you're a business. So this helps with algorithms, and then it also helps with, then you can see analytics, which you wouldn't be able to do if you were a personal profile. I always say as much as you can, and this comes back to who you are as a brand. Like, you might not be your face as a brand, but people like personal profile photos. So even if that's your team, maybe it's the founder, maybe it's even just a construction site, the job site, anything that kind of shows a little bit more personality than just your logo. We've tested this with not only our account, but we've run social media for a few other home industry accounts. And anytime it's a little bit more relatable, it gets better traffic. So I always say just test it out too, and your data will tell. Leave it on there for a month, look at your data, see if anything's changed. But people just crave that connection, that personality, and really knowing that there's a face behind a brand, and it's not just this, big, huge thing and not any personality behind it. And they want to see the people that they're actually working with. Then you want to make sure that you have a descriptive bio. So this is your display name. This is your about profile. I always like to make sure that it's a little bit personable. So I always say, hi, we're Jamie Morgan Molitor. And make sure that it says Chicago, or if there's a specific niche within the city that you guys work in. For us, it's the west side suburbs of town. So we get really specific around the lakes that we work in, the parks that we work in. And this is for images that we'll talk about later. But even if you are very niche within a certain demographic or parts of the city, put that within your profile. And then I also like to put the different style of work that you do. So for us, I put eclectic and colorful home style, because that way, this is all keywords that people are going to be searching for, and you want to make sure that you're shown for them. And right now, I think there was 4 when I did Chicago contractor that even have Pinterest profiles. So there's a huge opportunity for you. Make sure your email address is in there. I don't like to list our phone number on anything because I want people to email us. But so make sure your email's in there. If you have an address for your office, make sure that's in there. But so often I see that when you go to edit your profile, like, you don't even have any information within your profile. And again, this is just one of the easiest things that you can do to make sure that you're getting found in search. So here I put Chicago contractor in Pinterest. There was 4. And even so I put Minnesota design build. getting very specific because I want to be found for design build. And we are the only one that appears, and that is because we are the only ones that actually have that description within our bio, which a lot of people just don't even put that. They'll put design build, but they won't put their specific location. So that's just a huge missed opportunity. When I started typing in Chicago interior design, so it starts auto-populating all of the different search that this shows what people are typing into the search bar. So it's not just what they think they're typing. This is actually what people are typing. So if you do anything like this, so you can start typing whatever kind of specific demographic niche you want to put in there and see what it auto-populates, and use whatever it's auto-populating to make sure that it's within the description of your profile. And then at the bottom there, you can see the start of some of the interior designers that do have an account. So add descriptions to your boards. So this is when you go to your Pinterest profile and you have all your different boards. And if you don't have any boards, start creating boards. Again, make sure it's very specific. Don't just put our projects, because nobody's going to ever type into a search engine our projects. They're going to type fireplace molding, appliances, paint color guide, and even go to construction of styles account. We probably have like 200 different boards, and because I've done research on them already, take the different names that we have and create those exact same style boards. And then within those boards, you can also make sure you have a name, the description, and a category and a cover profile. Again, this is all keywords that people are searching for, so you can load it up with hashtags and just get very specific on the keywords, put a comma and stuff them in, add more. There's no over spammy that you can do in this, because people don't really see this. They might click into your board, but really not very often you're actually going to someone's profile, clicking into their board. You're more so often typing something into the search bar and then finding what you're looking for, and people will never see this. So I always say load it up with as many keywords and as many hashtags as you can. And then use real keywords. So again, think about what you might type into Google. I bet it's very specific. I bet it's 3 to 5 words. You might even be using the word cheap. I often find myself where I'm using that. Does that mean I want something actually cheap within my home? No. Does that mean if I'm using it with construction style, I don't ever want to be known as we're a cheap brand or do cheap quality? We use, there's no such thing as cheap handmade mosaic tile. Any handmade mosaic tile is going to be expensive, but people might type that in just looking for the most affordable option. And they probably aren't going to put affordable. They'll probably put cheap before affordable. So really think about what you use for keywords, what your users, your clients would all use for keywords, and make sure that that is loaded up. So here's on the left-hand side in that picture where it says paint color guide. That's an example of where the description goes and how much keywords and hashtags I have loaded up within that board. And then you also do the same thing for pins. And the beauty about Pinterest too, and the industry that we're in, is not everything is pretty. And I think sometimes we have we start to only want to use the pretty photos, when actually some of our best performing content is when I'm taking photos of Jamie when it's dirty under construction, our projects. Here he's making a concrete countertop. And within a month, we had 94.8 thousand impressions on this one image. It was just taken with my iPhone. So again, don't overthink things. 680 clicks over to our website from this one image, and just make sure the keywords are there and that it's actually telling you what the image is about. Could you ever go over the auto-populate info? Oh, now I don't even know what I said about auto-populating. I'm not sure. Okay, but I am going to talk about how to make sure every image has the keywords auto-populated before you put it onto Pinterest. So I'm hoping that answers your question, Terry. If not, let me know more specifically what that means. So tell people what to do. This is another huge and easy thing. It's kind of just like when you watch YouTube and they're always like, subscribe to our channel. Like, yes, it's very annoying, but I guarantee you probably wouldn't subscribe unless they're telling you to subscribe to the actual YouTube channel. And so I always say same thing with images, even not necessarily on the images, but within the text, the description, tell people what to do. Say, click for more info, because when they click, it's going to lead to the website, or check out the guide here. I'm telling them these are 10 tools that you can't live without on a job site. And within the description, which you can't see, I say, click over to read, dive into more details about what each of these tools are. And then these are Jamie's top 10 tools that he uses. So all this can kind of feel overwhelming too. So if you're just looking for a starting point, I always say go to your analytics, always. I'm always reiterating that throughout this presentation, but go to your analytics, look at your top pins. Some of those top pins might not even be from your website, but you can kind of look at that, see what's working, what's not working, make sure content similar to that lives on your website. So if you just go to the left-hand side of your Pinterest profile, click on analytics, overview, and then here's where our top performing pins are. So like we have one that's subway tile patterns. We did how to lay different subway tile pattern ideas. When it comes to subway tile, like I'm so over it, but this is one of the best performing content that we get on our website. So I'm constantly talking about subway tile. And even though I might not like it as much, but that's what our readers want to see. That's what they're clicking on. That's what's getting over to our website. So I'm always thinking up new subway tile ideas, because that blog post of ours gets the most traffic to our website. And so then I say, go to these different content ideas and make sure that they have updated descriptions within the pins and the boards that they live in, which when you're in your analytics, you can just click on it and it will lead you right to where that is. Okay, any questions so far? Okay. So tools. So that's what I was talking about. So Tailwinds is one. This is the Pinterest tool that will change your life. I'll send this to you again. You can click on this, get a free month. Otherwise, I think we spend $8 a month, I think it is, on this tool. So again, I spend 1 hour per week. We pin 25 pins per day, and I use Tailwinds. I used to pin 100 pins per day. I did the same amount of time. It didn't take me any more time. But as algorithm shifted, which I'm always keeping an eye on, now less is more. And so I only do 25, and I found that's the sweet spot that keeps on going up in our analytics. So I keep on using that. So the awesome thing about Tailwinds, and I wonder if this might not have a video, but it might not play. When you log into your account, this is what the dashboard looks like. And you can just go to your website, and there's a Tailwind extension that you can click on. And if you sign up for Tailwinds, it will talk you through how to put this extension on your website. It's super simple. It does it all for you with like 2 clicks. But you'd go to your website, you'd click on the Chrome extension, and within 2 seconds, all of your images pop up on a new browser. You click on the images. So say you click on 10 images, and then it'll ask you which board. So it automatically syncs with your Pinterest. Say you do 30 boards, all of a sudden there is 30 pins that are scheduled, tops within 10 seconds. And so that's why it's so easy to be able to constantly putting out content on Pinterest without even having to do a thing. So I set aside 1 hour per week, and I pin for the entire week. And then I also use that time to make sure boards are updated, pins are updated. I create pins. So really the scheduling of it doesn't take very much time at all. And then throughout the entire week and throughout the entire day, different pins are going out. So it's like 1 pin every, 15 minutes is automatically going out, and I'm not having to do anything. And this is a video. Again, I'll send this slide for you guys so you can click on it. And I have this on YouTube as well on how easy it is that I'm able to just schedule all of our content out, and I just set it and I don't have to do a thing. Any questions on Tailwinds? It's hard to explain it without actually showing you guys. Okay, and then creating pinnable pins. This is another big thing. And I always say, start with getting your profile optimized, getting it set up, and just making sure you're at least getting content out there before you dive into this next one, because this is when people jump into it and then they just want to quit because they feel a little bit overwhelmed. But the good news is you don't need to design an infographic like this, like we did here, that take a lot of time, a lot of money, because honestly, what we've shown from data is the best pins, which I call them ugly pins, is this simple. So I take an image that we use, I do some text overlay. You can use Canva, it's free. It gives you this template actually right here. It already has the text written in, and all you do, it has the colors, it has the graphic. All you do is click on it and put whatever you're talking about. So if it's a kitchen remodel, put the project name, put the design style of it, put the area that it's located in, do any kind of text overlay. I would say do vertical. Vertical catches people's attention, jumps out at them more than horizontal does. And if you're using Canva, this is already set up. The dimensions are already set up for you. I would say one background image. You don't need to do more. I've tested 2 to 3 different images, but people just like that one, clean, crisp, large bold text, bright color. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that every single pin that is your content is linked back to your website. Is everything, Sherry's wondering, is everything you pin your own photos, or are you repinning? So I repin when I'm actually I'm wanting to use Pinterest, just for inspiration for myself. But otherwise, everything, the 25 pins per day, is all content that lives on our website. And then I never really worry about repinning other people's things. There is a thing in Tailwinds called Tribes, which is basically like a support group. If you guys are in some of those on Instagram, where you pin other people's thing, they'll pin your thing. So I try to go in there every now and then and give the support back and the engagement back and put some of our content in there and pin some of their things to help with their engagement too. And also, so if you sign up for Tailwinds, if you go look within Tribes for construction of style, I do have a group. I think we probably have about 500 people in there that all support one another, pin different things from one another's accounts. So again, that's a super easy way to just jump in, get into a free support group that will start pinning your stuff as well and not just their stuff. So again, go to your analytics, look at your last top 5 content, and make a pin for them. So I'm like, if you're not sure where to start, make sure that good content that's already performing well has a graphic with text overlay on it. So all these, this is what I've done slowly over time. All these have graphic overlays now, but before, a lot of these didn't have the graphic overlay or graphics period. It was just a standard image. So one member said they use Tribes and it put all the other pins in front of their company. Does that happen a lot, or is that their user error? I would say it's probably because you're not pinning anything else. Because what I do, if you use Tribes, I will go and pin other people's things. It'll put it into the queue and it will shuffle it all up with my content that I'm pinning every day. So if you went and did someone else's and then you're not doing your own regularly, yeah, then it's going to show someone else's stuff and it's going to be sitting there. But I would also say, again, going back to, people aren't just going to your profile and looking at your profile. They're going to be finding you in search. So I don't think that's a huge thing. It probably just bothers you because all of a sudden then you're seeing other people's stuff and not your own. But that's why you should make sure that you're pinning your own stuff frequently, so all of that gets shuffled together and that's not the first thing that you see on someone's site. And make sure to have a good mix of it too. So if I'm doing 25 pins per day from my own website, the number of that I'm doing from other people's is probably anywhere from like 3 to 5 pins per week. And so that's always going to be shuffled in with our stuff. And I also, I pin things that I like. So if they have something doesn't align with our style, our brand, I'm not going to pin it. And it's kind of nice because it's not one of those things where it's like people notice or get mad. It's more so just to help. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. And another thing, so these pins don't necessarily have to live on your website. You can, on your profile, on the right-hand side, hit the plus button, hit create pin. You can upload a pin, but then when you upload it, then just make sure that it has a link back to your website, because that's the whole point of getting things on Pinterest, is that so when people click on it, it leads you back to your guys' brand, your guys' website. That's a huge thing that I've seen people do, is they upload all this content or even their projects and they forget to link it back to their site. And I'm sure you guys have stumbled across that too. You're Googling something, looking for an answer. You think you find the answer, you click on it, whether it's an article or an image on Google, which lives on Pinterest, and all of a sudden it's a dead link. It doesn't lead you to your answer, or it could be, it leads you to some spammy website. So that's why it's so critical, especially if you're taking the time to do all this, to make sure that it's linking back to your story, your brand, your site. And then I'm a huge fan of always tracking results. I'm looking at our analytics, our Pinterest analytics, probably 3 times a week, just making sure everything's moving up. I always make sure all the greens, when you just quickly go to the overview, it's all in green. If things are going down, it would be in red. I just screenshotted this morning, because if it is in red, then I know some algorithm has changed, something's missing. Maybe I'm spending too much time on content that's actually not performing well. So then it tells me that I need to kind of relook things over, reshift, and readjust. Any questions? All right. So regardless of the social media platform, but yeah, so all of them, it's all about storytelling. And so I just want to get you guys in this thought process that always be thinking about the bigger story, the bigger picture. So whether it's a client's kitchen or a bathroom remodel, right now we just bought an investment property we're working on. We're welcoming the birth of our daughter. We're getting the nursery ready. Like, I'm always trying to think of additional storylines behind the different things that we do for our brand, and make sure to share the entire journey, not just the pretty after picture. I think that so often we get so, caught up in working in our business, not on our business. And then all of a sudden, all we're doing is we're revealing like, oh, look at this project we did. But we didn't take them on the journey. We didn't show them how this project started. We didn't take them through the design process, maybe the architectural process, the under construction process. Like, people love to see that, which I found is the dirty part of the job, and the hiccups, the challenges, how we resolve solutions. Make sure you're sharing everything, because again, people want to know you. They want to know the story. And once they're in the story, they're invested, and they're coming to check back to make sure that they're following along and they know what it's about. And that's how you get more engagement. Because if you just show that after picture, like, oh, look, this awesome kitchen remodel we did, people don't know any of the context, any of the work that went into it, the full journey. They don't feel invested. So they're not probably going to take the time to like it, reshare it, save it, comment on it. But when you take them on the full journey, like, that's when they're really invested, not just in the storyline, but also you as a brand and a company. And when they're thinking about their remodel or their next big project, they're going to be contacting you because you're always the one who's on top of mind. And they know your process. They know how you work. They know things that you've hit and how you've overcame them. And I think now more than ever, especially as the new generations are coming up, like, they want to make sure brands that they are buying from fully align with them, morally, ethically, and so many other levels besides just what's the end price. And that's it. Like, they really want to know who you are as a company. And so the more that you can share about that, the better it's going to be for your business. And so here's just there's a picture. So we were sponsored by Krylon for something, but for months prior, we were talking about how our son was getting older. We need to take his room from a baby's room to a toddler room. We talked about his different things that he loved to do, all knowing that eventually, so Krylon, we got sponsored by, then all of a sudden at the end, we redid his room. Like, people knew why we chose that wallpaper. They knew that we like to thrift shop and that we used all these old things to spray paint them. And they probably were more apt to buy the spray paint that we were selling had we just all of a sudden thrown this together and said, oh, look at our son's room. Same with all of our projects. So this is a recent one we just wrapped up. So we called it the Uptown Modern Chateau project. It was a kitchen remodel that we did. And so as soon as the client signed the contract, we are talking about it on all social media. We write a blog post immediately. just talking about, so this was January 2020. We kicked off the design. We're talking about it. We're talking about how the client found us. We're talking about the areas that they live, the parks that they live by, things to do. It was right by Lake Calhoun. We talked about different bike trails, lots of different things. And these are all keywords that live on Google, that live on Pinterest, that people, if they ever search for that, all of a sudden we're popping up, and they might not even be looking for a remodel, but we're providing the answers to the content that they're looking for. And then eventually, again, when they're ready to remodel, we are going to be top of mind. And then now in September, we shared the reveal. We are pinning this to Pinterest. We made pins behind it. And then within the descriptions, every pin, it's loaded with those description keywords. We are putting, again, the lakes, the trails, the designs that we did. We're getting very specific with the navy paint color that we used, the white that we used, the different brands that we used. We're putting those in there so that, again, if anyone is Googling any of those things, we're hoping that our website will be the first to pop up. And again, share the dirty, the real. These are some of our top blog or our top pins that have performed the best, is when Jamie and Topher are under construction. These are all taken with my iPhone. Here's just some text overlay that I just put, this wall is being removed. Like, you don't have to do anything fancy. You don't need to be a graphic designer, hire a graphic designer. And just make sure to share it. That's the biggest thing, is like, we forget to share all these under construction pictures. And what I've been noticing is that this is what resonates with our readers the most and what they like to see. So I would just say, start with, what's your story? Like, what are you selling? What are you currently talking about? And what are you not talking about? And what does your brand fully encompass? So these are the 5 things that I'm always thinking about with construction of style. And what drives us money is construction, interior design, DIY, creative development, marketing, consulting. And then I dive deeper into those. So under construction, then I'm like, we have clients. And then within that, it's like, what storylines can you pick apart from that? Going back to, again, locations, design styles of them, paint colors, tiles, why they're choosing what they are. And then, yeah, so create the storyline. And then, so on your post, you do the before picture first and then the after, or vice versa. I do the before first. So I always, on our cover photo, on our posts, I do the after, but then when you click on it, right away it's the before, construction. So I make sure that it flows with how the project would flow. Otherwise people kind of get confused. But I have went back and forth on that, but that's what I found is best, is the before first and then move to the after. We actually worked for a, now I'm blanking out on the name, but it was through Pinterest. So we were paid to pin different graphics. It could be our project, it could be someone else's. And they never allowed us, we were never allowed to put pretty photos on it. It always had to be really the before photos first and the under construction. And yeah, so I always thought that was interesting too, because they were a big company that it was an affiliation. So they had other companies that they're supporting in front of with this social media. But I was always blown away, because some of these pictures I would just cringe because they were so hideous and so ugly. And I'm like, but why would people click on them? But they did. And that's one thing I found with Instagram too, is when you did the before and after and the swipe, and I kind of go back and forth. Because Instagram is measuring on engagement over likes, if you do the before, people are more apt to stop for 2 seconds and swipe, which is going to increase your engagement rate, than if it's the after first. Then they just like it and they keep scrolling. So yeah, it does entice people more for anything across all social media if you have the ugly picture first. So yeah, so I was saying, think of the different bullet points, the categories that how you make your money, and then dive deeper on those storylines. And then I always say, alter your storylines based on search. So I always go back and look at Google or Pinterest, use either one. But here was one, if I'm Googling if I should paint my kitchen cabinets white, so it'll start to auto-populate what people are searching for. So then adjust it to what people are searching for and not what you might think they're searching for. Here's another example. I was writing a blog post on maximizing your social media presence. That's what I was going to call the blog post. And after I put it into the Google search bar, then it told me to put how to improve social media for your business. People were Googling that more. So I adjusted it to be that. Yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. And so just next steps, if you're not sure where to start or what to do, first make sure you have a Pinterest profile, make sure your Pinterest bio is updated, and then optimize your profile. Make sure you have the boards there, make sure you have pins there, make sure descriptions are within all of them, and then get your images from your website onto Pinterest. And I'm sure you guys all have great websites. You all have a portfolio. You might not have a blog, which is just fine. But I also always encourage that to eventually get there. And it doesn't have to be called blog. It could be called a resource. And I always say too is what questions are clients asking you, and make sure those answers live on your website. And that could be under your resource. It could be under your about. It could be any sort of drop down on your website. And then so just make sure all the images from your portfolio or anywhere else are actually on your Pinterest profile, because again, that is just going to double whammy help you with the search engine results and getting your content out there. And so, yeah, and then start to think about the different storylines, start to think about creating those pinnable graphics for the different projects that you guys do. Just do one pin per project on your portfolio tab, put that onto Pinterest, link back to your portfolio tab, and then start thinking about new fun content. That's all I got.
All right.
So what questions?
Yeah, I thought that was awesome, Morgan. And just so you know, I know you can't see the admin stuff, but we actually have quite a few people that are viewing. So you're not alone on an island at your desk.
I know. And then I never know if I should be more 101 or get more into the nitty gritty details. So I also always say, send me a DM, send me an email. Here's my information. I'm an open book. I'm always happy to help and give you the resources or some tips. And I try to write blog posts on all questions I get answered. So I probably have the answers somewhere on our website.
Yeah. So we do have a couple questions here. So Kara Hollis is wondering, what's your take on advertising on Pinterest?
So I always say, I don't. I have done, so I run Mercury Mosaics ads. They're a handmade tile company here in the Twin Cities, but they're nationwide. So I do ads for them. But I always say, and it's very good and beneficial, and they see the ROI. And we make sure that the amount of money we're spending each day is you're getting that money triple back at least. Otherwise, I say if you're not getting it triple, then it's not probably worth it. But often I see people jump straight to ads before they take the steps to make sure that they're do all the free things first before you get to the ad. Because if people then are finding you and you don't have your profile set up, you're not even putting content on there regularly, it looks spammy, and there's so much opportunity with all the free stuff first. I always say make sure you're set up right before you jump into ads, and then make sure you have someone that's helping you run the ads so that you're paying attention to that. Or if you're doing it, great, because it's pretty simple to do. But just make sure that you have the time to pay attention to the analytics, and that you're looking into the analytics weekly, that you're tracking it, and that you're really ensuring that what's coming through to your website, you are getting back in return. Because if you're not, then it wouldn't be good.
Yeah. And, you mentioned a few times, you can just use everyday photos. You don't have to be getting professional photography and things to pin. And actually, you made a case that using kind of the nitty gritty construction photos seems to get some traction.
Yeah, right.
But do you think is there anything that's worth getting professional photos to post, like in your experience?
Yeah, well, I post all of our photos. So every single project we do, I mean, we always end it with a professional photography. We put that in our reveal post. I'm pinning all those as well. But I just think sometimes people overlook the construction ones and the dirty ones and the ones that you're taking when you're just running to the job site to check on things. And you might be uploading it to build. How do you say, if you're uploading a builder trend, upload it to Pinterest at the same time. But people are really intrigued by that kind of stuff. And then I think it shows too, because I think so often people are misled by, a remodel doesn't take time, when it's like, you're going to be living in major construction for 3 to 5 months. And this is actually real life. And so I think they like that. And they, it's the education side too, but yeah.
And obviously you have, you have a very strong social media presence, and, what would you, I think for, at least for me personally, like I've done a lot of start and stop with social media, and, it's hard to get that traction. It's almost like you have to do things religiously. Like, how long would you say if someone was, say, pinning, the 25 pins, was it per day or per week?
Per day.
Per day. So like, how long would you say before someone should feel like they're gaining traction? And if they're not, something else is going wrong?
I always say, so the things I laid out today, do that for 30 days, like commit to it 30 days. And I guarantee you will see results. So when I did the 30-day challenge with readers, and one I shared earlier, I had people go from like 40 views a month to 5,000 views a month. And that's taking 1 hour per week and working on it. So I'm like, that's 4 hours, but you need to do all those steps. So to me, that's, worth the risk. Lose 4 hours of your month and get the views up. And yeah. We also have another question here. What's the demographic of the average Pinterest user? I'm not sure what it is for entire Pinterest cumbersome, but ours actually, and I should have put a screenshot in here. So we have 40% is actually male, which always surprises people, and 60%. So I can just see what ours is for construction of style, and 60 is female. Because a lot of times people think too, but also I think for us, sometimes the decision maker is the female anyway. But so that's always like a surprising one. And again, like I said earlier, it's not people actually going to Pinterest.com. It's people going to Google and they're ending up on Pinterest without even realizing it. And sometimes you skip through Pinterest and you don't even know you were on Pinterest because you click on the article, which then leads you to wherever that article lives. But it was through Pinterest that got you there, and you might not even fully realize that. But yeah, I don't know what the whole platform, what the demographics is, but
like, what are you able to tell like the ages of who's coming to your website generally? Is it regional? Like, do you find people are regionally? Like, how much of it is?
And it shows ages. Our ages is 28 to 55. And then our region, and it's because I'm heavily focused on the areas that we want to be in, and I'm always focusing on the west suburbs of the Twin Cities. And we like to stick around the lakes. I'm always focused on those. So that's the highest for us, but it's because I'm intentionally using those keywords. So we're being found for those keywords. So I think it is like what your strategy is, knowing what it is, what you want to focus on. And if you're doing it correctly, putting the keywords in, then you're probably, the demographic is going to be what you want it to be. If you're doing it right, if you're just going rogue and putting your portfolio out there, but not updating any of the descriptions, then you'll get just a random probably demographic.
Yeah. So, I think for the people that are watching, this was, for some, maybe it was helpful, for a lot of you, I'm sure it was like a lot of information and, like really, really good information. What I'll say is I actually found Morgan because I follow her on Instagram, because you were always coming up on my Instagram, even when I wasn't following you. But I
like, no way.
it was sort of creepy, but not. So But I was following you, and I've always been really impressed. But actually, I didn't start following you until I learned you have these classes. And for anyone that's looking at the slide that's up right now, if you go to Construction to Style, you can go on her website, and it's literally click, click, click. She's got great courses. They're super affordable. I did her Pinterest course. I think it was under $50. I took a Sunday afternoon. I mean, I just powered through them. And I'll tell you, in 30 days, within 10 days, my Pinterest blew up.
Yes,
I actually emailed her, and it went like this, and I was like, ooh, and I could actually see where I felt, like I fell off. I had trouble with stamina. But I'm saying, like, what she's saying is, these are really actionable things. And I would recommend for anybody that's looking to increase your marketing game, go to the website, do the courses. They're easy. And she literally goes through like step by step, like click here, go to this, try this out. And I think that's really, I think if you do the course, and then we'll put, she's going to send us the slides. We're going to have a recording of this. I think if you do the course and you come back to this webinar, you're going to look, it's going to make even more sense to you, what she's saying. So I would highly recommend it. I've done it. I'll be doing more courses, and she's got not just on Pinterest, but being a brand ambassador, trying to get your social media to make money for you, because in remodeling and construction, it's just getting more competitive, and it's getting more online. And I think if the remodeling industry, if us contractors are not getting out there, we're losing bids, and it's not only just driving the traffic, which is great, but it's a better way to get leads in, but it's also a huge source of collateral of things for people to see online after you leave.
That's the thing I should note too, is that what I've found too is that we get way more qualified leads from Pinterest than we do on Instagram or any other social media. And I think it's because they're finding answers that they're seeking through our content before they're reaching out to us. And so going back to whatever clients ask us. So for example, when they're like, what's your process? Okay, on our process, on our website, our process drop-down menu, or our page, I made pins that say what a construction process, design build process, the process you have to live through a remodel. So all these different phrases and keywords, I made those graphics with text overlay that all lead to how our process is. So when people are looking for this, they're not typing in construction to style home remodeling process. They're probably typing in what's the process that goes into into remodeling your kitchen. And then I hope, are finding us, and we're explaining all of that on our website. So I think, and then the same thing, I've made things about how much does a kitchen remodel cost? How much does a bathroom remodel cost? And again, they are finding these graphics, going to our website, figuring out how much that is. So by the time they're contacting us for a remodel, they already know what the answer is. And now I'm not spending time trying to educate them on why this costs so much, why cabinetry is this much, why millwork is this much, why it takes so long. So they know all that before they reach out. And then we're like, boom, boom, okay, let's go. You know how much it's going to be, or starting at least, so you don't waste my time. And yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's a whole other webinar. That sentence. I'm sure the chat will blow up if we start going into that.
The best part, this would be a whole nother webinar, but you can have these posts not necessarily live on your website, but they're linked to your website. So it's a landing page that's out there on the internet. You wouldn't be able to find that on our website, because I don't want people coming to our website and then, sometimes when you get in those nitty-gritty details about cost and whatnot. So, but at least it's out there. It lives out there on the web. It's linked on Pinterest. They find us through it. They connect, but it's not actually just sitting on our website.
Yeah, that's good info. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for today. I think it was really, really informative. I appreciate you're so close to having a baby, and I'm sure you're super busy. But thank you so much for taking the time to come down to Chicago and and give us a little bit of your knowledge.
Totally. Anytime. Thank you for having me. I wish I could be in Chicago in real life right now.
Yeah. Well, we are. It's not so great, let me tell you. But yeah, so everyone, again, her info is up here. You can go to constructiontostyle.com and also use that info. Don't forget about the Remodeling Excellence Awards, which are coming up here in October. So you win an award, you have a lot of fodder and content to push online and let your marketing work for you. And I hope that this was really helpful for everybody. So everyone have a great night. And I guess we have to start saying stay warm these days. So, all right. Thanks again, Morgan. And everyone, we will talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.